Question Mike wasn't crazy.
No, you're crazy. He's not. He was
Someone in the chat,
55.
Wild Farmer Bill, asking about playing out of the rack. I certainly think it's fine, as long as no one at the table has an issue with it, and it's clear that you can see how many chips he's playing. Then I never have any issue with people playing out of racks, even in big bet games. It's not too uncommon, although it's certainly not the norm.
He's trying to tell me something about
And I've definitely done it before. So in this hand, Joel flops bottom 2 pair against top pair of Bryce. This is a bad situation for Bryce. It's raised pre-flop by Joel, and Bryce defended the straddle and check calls the flop. I think Bryce is going to end up check calling 2 to 3 streets here.
Actually, no, the bike discovered you.
Yeah, well, no, well, Zack discovered me when I was at tournament.
Talking about your televised personality.
What?
I'm talking about your televised personality.
Yeah, I know. But off the table, how am I?
I don't know. I mean,
So how, let me ask you this. Listen, so by the way, I watch you play on, I travel a lot.
That was a really big bet on the on the turn. He might have, I think he overbet the turn. Gets a complete brick river.
How often do you notice that?
Very difficult spot for
no,
Bryce
but
here.
the others that he didn't abused me. So it's kind of like a vicious.
In general,
yeah, it's
you
really
just don't want to be folding top pair that often.
Allies and enemies and
Makes it a good story. But
oh wow, Bryce turns his hand into a
yeah.
into a bluff, I
I
think.
told him. I told him I thought he.
This is a sick play.
I thought he went to.
So he's using, I guess, his 7 blocker for the backdoor straight, or not even the backdoor straight, just the open ender on the flop. Is a really good blocker to have. He has sort of an ideal hand to check raise shove because it has showdown value. So it's like, I really like this play.
So Bryce checked the river. Joel bets 150
I'm curious. What is he gonna say next?
We had him here before you guys, and he was.
about 800.
Yeah, he
like.
made a really small bet
or
size.
650, 150 and a 650.
Don't try to pawn your stuff.
Yep.
And then
Bryce
and then
just
Bryce
let
just
rip.
turns realizes top pair is no good, turns it into a bluff.
Well, if you,
Yeah.
let's do the definition of
It's a,
pawn. If you're
I
gonna
mean,
do
against
something
that, if 150 is, I can't see the chips. If 150 is really what he bet, I would have just called with this hand.
the definition
But
of a pawn.
if just because it's a strong enough hand against that bet size, but had he been facing like a normal bet size, this is a really cool hand to do this with. It's
So he
like,
just thinks that Joel's unlikely to have 5-7 here, and like other hands he's asked to fold.
well, it's not just that you block 5-7, and like if you're gonna pick a bluff to have in this spot, like the hands that you want to check call, generally are gonna have showdown value. This is one of the very few hands with showdown value that makes sense, that also blocks the straight and doesn't really beat any value that your opponent's triple barreling. So it's like sort of a really, really nice hand to turn into a bluff in these spots if you're going to pick something to bluff here to balance out when you have 7-5 or a slow played set or a slow played top 2.
Yeah, it's. I say, you know, he just got his.
So
trimmed down
10-25.
10%.
So it was
Early on, when it was all getting started. You know, he was out of line. I mean, I'm 42 years old, so I've been around
Right.
that scene. He would get out of line, depending on who. There's certain people.
Okay. And you know.
yeah, I think the
people
bet
get
was a
out of
little
line,
bit more. I don't think it was
there's
150.
penalties
It must have been
repercussions.
550.
So my whole thing is for us, because this is our show. You guys have poker night. This is our business.
This is your show, Joe?
This is legend. No, I'm a regular though.
Oh, I thought you meant you owned the show.
I play in every big game. That guy, me, these guys.
So Joel raised pre-flop and Bryce
You know, so
called from the
I'm
straddle.
not familiar with
I
you guys
believe
in general.
what the show did was after what he did.
And it works.
Joel bet the flop and Bryce called.
His ego got
Bryce check called the turn and then check jams the river. Pretty sick play, realizing that his king is no good.
Figure this out here.
So to me, I think it's the right move to do. And then after you pay the price, then you welcome back.
Done. No.
I'm not gonna touch the chip.
No. Get up.
Come
Get
on,
out
pause.
the chip. No. I'm telling you no.
Why, you're
Because
upset?
yes, I'm telling you no.
Okay.
I'm asking you nicely to get up.
No problem. I don't know why it's a big deal, I'm just talking.
But I told you.
Can I
I'm asking
stand?
you
Nice
to
play.
go back-
Stand there?
No, go back to the end of the room.
Really long, I don't know.
You said a lot of nice things about
And Eldar having a rough day.
you know, I would've bet 50.
Credit to Eldar for keeping his composure because he's had 2 rough ones, 2 coolers, so to speak. He had the Queens versus Jacks against Leo, where Leo overshoved and he called, and on the 5-5 deuce board, and then he overshoves with the nuts here.
310.
Gets Brandon to call with 1 pair, And wow.
Yeah, that
was pretty sick.
That's painful with Queen 10 there.
Jeez.
Eldar does not look happy.
And Brandon is now up 5K on the day. Him and Leo, the big winners tonight.
Yeah. Well,
So we have a raise from Ron with 8-7 suited. Joel flats 9s in the cutoff, and Bryce with a big 3-bet in the big blind with the 3-10 with ace-king. Ron calls, Joel calls. Three-way action, almost 1,000 in the pot here. 3 good hands. Ron, Joel, and Bryce. Ace, ace, 9. Wow, look at this cooler flop. Oh, my God. Bryce with the nut trip aces, and Joel flops a boat.
Yikes.
And he bets 300 here. Bets really small. And does Joel go for the raise or just the call? It's 325 actually. So he bets 325.
Just calls.
And Joel just calls.
He's in position.
I think it's good. I mean, if you raise that flop, then you're repping pretty strong there. You're probably not going to raise flush draws too often. So now the turn is where the interesting part comes, where you try to get some money in the pot if you're Joel. If you're Bryce as well, because both of these guys think they have the nuts.
Yep.
And Bryce bets 650. And Joel only has about 2,000, a little over.
I prefer calling here if I'm Joel. You are basically going to stack Bryce. Like, Bryce is going to value bet the river or check call the river as a bluff catcher if he has an ace. And if he doesn't have an ace, you want to keep those hands in his range.
You don't want to shove here with a stack that's already going to get in the river anyway.
Yeah.
Just in case Bryce might fold.
You just don't need that much protection. It's just going to get in on the river a lot. Yeah, and it gets in on the river this way.
And just Joel snaps.
And yeah, Bryce not happy to see
Bryce
it.
not happy. You don't usually see that out of Bryce.
Yeah.
He just thought he was always good there.
He was just convinced in his mind that he had bet and gotten called by a worse hand. He bet the best hand. It's just not fun to go from in your head you're 100% confident you won the pot to just losing.
It's kind of like when in your head you think that you're drinking something, but then you drink it and you realize it's something else. So, like, you think that you're about to drink Coke, and then you drink it, and it's iced tea, and you're like, oh, this is a weird feeling.
Yeah.
Or vodka and water, maybe.
I think this hurts a little bit more than the wrong drink, the 6K pot.
Point is, messes with your mind.
What was the flop?
For sure. Yeah, Bryce is not happy.
Might have been able to get away on the river.
And Brandon immediately just comes in with the might have been able to get away on the river comment. Oh, he doesn't stop.
What did he say?
Brandon just instantly asked like what the sizing of the bets were, and then just told Bryce that he might have been able to get away on the river.
You know I always go with my reads.
Last place, guys?
Listen to me. Don't argue. Just tell. Don't argue.
See, Bryce.
You can fold ace king when the
Bryce,
cards get
don't
turned
argue.
face up
Just
and
refer back to
it's
it.
kind of amazing. Like, you should be announcing about sharing the strategy because honestly, like your thought process is unbelievable.
See, you don't think
It's the read.
you don't understand. It's about
Yeah,
reading
I
ability,
understand
and
that.
it's
You gotta
hand
play
by
You gotta
hand.
play the player. You gotta play the player.
Play the player.
So you gotta just like.
Brandon also follows up with I always go with my reads after
How
the
tight
hand he
have you
just
been
played.
playing today?
Yeah.
Pretty tight, right?
Like making a fool of you?
It's sick because he
No.
should be up like $200 for the session after that hand, like whatever it was, 90-something% of the time. What was he in that hand, like 8% to win?
8%, I think.
Yeah, and instead he's up 5,000.
Bryce, that was kind of rude.
Instead,
what you said
he
there.
wins the hand with the bad beat and then just instantly starts needling Bryce the next hand after Bryce
lost
gets
that?
stacked.
Or you were saying one.
And I think that's going to do it for our show today. Here's the final chip counts. Leo, the big winner. Brandon Cantu, also a big winner as well, winning about 5K. Leo won over 6K. There's the VPIP. So thanks to everybody for tuning in. I'm Ryan Feldman with Dan Zack. Thanks for joining me. And again,
Thanks, Ron.
we will see you next time right here on Live at the Bike. Have a good night, everybody.